Good evening, everybody. How are you? I'm very happy to be here, keynote speaker on this, our topic of today. I know say, since on a day unilag, some of them feel surprised, but as they talk pidgin and English, I could mix up. So let's try and. But yeah, compliments of the season. Don't look at it. You think that I have money. If you have money for me, please bring it. I'll take it. I am not shy to take students' money. Yes. So yeah, what is artistic freedom, and also what is the right of assembly? Why do Nigerians also have to wait for artists to assemble before we know it's time to assemble? I think these are the two questions that I will try and really tackle today in this keynote address, and then we can ask me any other question that we want. If you follow international politics and current affairs that is happening all over the world, you realize that it's not only Africans that have issues, everybody has their issues. And in this context, except I say Nigeria, when I say Africans, I mean black people all over the world. So even black people in America, in Europe, in Australia, when I say Africans, I just mean all of us. So you realize that all nations have their issues, Native Americans, Europeans, Jewish people, Irish people, English people. But it's peculiar that it's only Africans that celebrities speak for. It is only Africans that celebrities speak for, and I feel that this is a deliberate thing that happens in all our communities this way. So if you have a big political issue or human rights issue, we don't really have the experts. Nobody will listen to the professors, nobody will listen to the officials, because we as African people, we understand already not to trust any of the institutions. And it is because of the, how do I put it? It is because of the betrayal of these institutions. Young African people understand, because we are not stupid, so we understand that these institutions do not really represent us. And in place of patriotism and national interest and the drive to build our nation that is deliberately extracted from our psyche, we replace it with the love of demagogues. In place of our nation, we just put icons that we love. Who have my dad, Fela, all the artists, Whiskey, Davido, Burna Boy. Some people who have designers, Gucci, all this. They replace that emptiness of patriotism, you understand, in their life. Because that hole is a big hole where you don't really have anything big that represents you. This is only African people that this affects in the world, Anywhere English people are, they'll think, well, England. American people will think, USA. German people saying, Germany. So African people, and also because the world is quite anti-black. Even though we have contributed a lot of things to the development and civilization of humanity, to justify the oppression of African people all over the world, they continue to say, well, African people never did anything. And unless you really take your time to study who we are and what we have contributed to this world, it is easy for you to believe that lie. You understand? And so who wants to be attached to something that is not great? Who wants to be attached to a people that have never done or built anything? Nobody wants to do that, So instead of us to be proud of our nations and our cultures, and put it at the forefront of our personality. We tend to use material things and entertainment and all these things, to fill that space. So what am I trying to say right now? Where am I going with this little analysis I'm making? Is that we as African people, we must not wait for famous people to be interested in our issues before we are interested in our issues as well. If in Europe and America and all these places they have problems, it is professors and experts on these issues that come to speak for them. But we find out that in all African communities globally, it is celebrities that speak for African people. And trust me, as a musician myself, I will tell you, because I know music doesn't necessarily mean I know what is happening. Because I'm successful in music doesn't mean I know what is happening, because I'm successful acting, successful running, successful kicking a ball, doesn't mean that person is qualified to suddenly understand the issues of African people. And for that reason, deliberate reason, one more time I must say, a lot of African young people are, pushed towards this kind of thinking. You understand? We are made to think this way. We are made to look up to these people. We are all put up on pedestals. You understand? Nigeria is a nation that should be proud of what its engineers are building. Proud of what its doctors are discovering, different ways to treat diseases. We should be a nation at the forefront of research and discovery and development in all the fields that affect humanity. Why? Because we have so many people being afflicted and affected by these things. But you find that as a nation, all we have to be proud of are the achievement of individuals in arts. Art is awesome. Don't get me wrong, I'm an artist. This is how I feed my family. This is what I do. It's the only thing I know. But art is a way to inspire us towards something. We must all have a common goal, common consciousness, a collective consciousness, as I like to say. Why do I make the music I make? I make the music I make because I imagine the kind of music I would want to hear if I wasn't a musician and I was in Nigeria and I wanted to see my nation moving forward. You understand? That is what is in the back of my mind when I'm making music. And why do I put that in the back of my mind? Because I am lucky. I repeat, this is luck. I won the daddy lottery, and I was lucky to be born in a line of people that instilled it in me that I have a national responsibility. But did I even believe it still? My dad died when I was 14. I was a kid. And none of the institutions of influence in society was validating what my father was telling me at home. When I go to school, my teachers are saying something different. When I'm watching the TV, the journalists are saying something different. When I sneak with my friends and go to, because I had to sneak with my friends to go to church. We are not Christians, but every Sunday from like 7 till 11, there was nobody to play with. All my friends had gone to church, so I had to go to church so we could play outside while we are doing the church business. And when I'm there, the priests are not validating what my father is saying either. So it was difficult for me to follow through on what he was saying as a young person. My dad had died, and 10 years before I went on my own journey of self-rediscovery. Let me put it that way. So it is in this kind of situation that we African people find ourselves, that we are forced, right, to have to look up to people who are basically employees. I repeat, as artists, we are all employees of the elites that run society. So it is difficult for artists to be unbiased. Trust me. This is where class consciousness must come into your own perception. I don't know how many of you understand the class struggle. You understand? But class struggle must be at the forefront of your own analysis of any artist, any person that you are trying to follow. The person's decisions, the organizations they follow, the unions that they support. You understand? Because class interest. You understand? As we live in the world today, there's class warfare. Whether you as a worker, a poor working class person, whether you recognize that there's warfare against you or not, doesn't mean that this warfare does not exist. You know, it is not an error that over the last 2 years, as the opportunities for world businesses is reducing, that your own local food prices have gone up by more than 100%. Diesel has gone up by over 100%. Lights has gone up by over 100%. So it is amazing that those same people that control all these industries and think it is okay to increase all these prices have not thought it okay to increase the salaries of the workers that are doing these things. You understand? They now want to even increase fuel price, another fuel subsidy removal. You understand? We have to pay world-class prices. How about you pay world-class salaries? What's up with that? You know? But you find out that many of the people on TV, if they analyze these things, never analyze it from the perspective of the people. It is always from the perspective of the elites. So we as a people must realize that we put artists on too high a pedestal. Even during the NSAS protests, I said to many of the organizers, I said, well, many of the artists here are screaming NSAS, NSAS, but many of you go around with police escorts. And that for me alone justifies SARS. If you as an artist, a representation of young people, feel that not only do you need bodyguards with big chests and koboko and kondo, you also need armed policemen and mopo to follow you around, then why would the nation not say that they need SARS to also go around and patrol the whole place? And who do you use these mopos to oppress? I don't think you use them to oppress politicians or go to, no. Your mopo is there to beat your so-called fans if they come too close. You know? But we want to end SARS. So I understand that SARS is a manifestation of some anomaly in society that affects the rich and the poor. So SARS is the only police department in Nigeria that disturbs people inside pens. Listen, that's the problem. That's the reason why they did end SARS. Finish. Because not only does SARS disturb the poor, when their PAs are going home, their friends, their drivers, and SARS stop them in their beds and disturb them too. Just the way nobody talks about how bad public education is. Nobody talks about how Unilag has been looking for 2 billion endowment fund for about 2 years and can't find it. With all the billionaires in Lagos. Unilag, Harvard endowment fund is $65 billion. Imagine. That means Harvard does not even have to look at Unilag for Unilag to have heart attack. You just have to act like he wants to look at your school. What? Yes. But Davido raised 250 million in 1 day. See, you have to understand, they are not going to give you 2 billion to educate the future of Nigeria. You have to see the class warfare. You know, we as African people, we have been so, how would I put it, suppressed in our oppressor's narrative. So consumed by it is everywhere. They spend billions to distract you, billions to make sure that you understand and you see their narrative. You understand? So it is, how do I put it? It is not really the people's fault that the people do not know what is going on. It is the fault of those of us that you look up to, that we do not really tell you what we know. You know, because the truth about it is, as African children, you are all children of sacrifice. Whether you like it or not, you are all, I'm even happy we're here in Freedom Park, which represents where some people sacrificed for us to be able to sit down here and have this conversation today. As African people, this is something I always say anytime I have a talk with people, African people anywhere. We were never invited to the table of imperialism and capitalism. Our first contact with it is as commodity. Until now, the only thing capitalism respects about African people is that which can be commodified. Whatever about us that cannot be commodified is not respected, is not guarded, is not regarded, is not seen. You know, that's why it's only even the part of our culture that can be commodified, that is seen in the world. Our music, some fashion, you know, some food, you know. But how about that struggle for African liberation? That is our real culture, because that is what truly connects all African people globally. All over the world, even in my country, 80-90% of African people living in poverty. You know, and I'm not saying poor. Poor is okay, don't get me wrong. You can be poor in the world. Poor for me means you have no access to luxury. I'm not saying it is okay. I'm saying in a fair world, in a socialist world, maybe luxury will become accessible to everybody, because luxury is beauty. Beauty is part of nature. For some people to corner it as their own, and you have to pay these huge sums to access it, makes no sense to me. But let's agree, so we cannot afford luxury. But you must be able to afford your own humanity. The food you're going to eat, the house you're going to stay, the work you're going to do, the things that will keep your dignity intact must not be for sale. But we live in a country where everybody that is rich has put a gate in front of your existence, and that's where they are all making money from. They keep public school, they all open university and secondary school, and they are all collecting the money. They are selling our oil, collecting the money, selling our cement, collecting the money, selling phone line, collecting the money. Nothing, no innovation. I say to everybody, no Nigerian billionaire will die today and we will miss the person. Oh, if this person wasn't around, we would not have. If this person wasn't here, we would not have. You know, because I understand Bill Gates, you know, if Bill Gates is not around, we will not have Microsoft. If Steve Jobs is not around, we will not have Apple. If Elon Musk is not around, you will not have Tesla. If Dangote is not around, are you trying to tell me that somebody else will not sell me cement? The most expensive cement in the world? Somebody, I mean, I can sell you the work. I mean, come on. You know? So we as young African people must stop looking up to artists, elites, all these people on the other side of the divide, you know, including myself. You start seeing me rolling around in their union, you know, you must see it from the perspective of your class. It is class warfare. That is what is truly behind anything that is going on. So be it freedom of assembly, freedom. Artists today have the power to say whatever they want. Trust me. Everybody practices what is called self-censorship. And this is not because they will go to jail. No. They just don't want to lose their access to the largesse. Artists all over the world, African artists all over the world, I'm sorry to say, do not want to lose their access to their endorsements, lose their access to their parties. In Lagos, it is 5 billion naira a week for weddings. Artists' budget in that wedding is about 800 to 900 million of that 5 billion. And people are accessing this money. You want them to be insulting their customers on your behalf? Everybody must practice self-censorship. That is the game. Nobody needs to tell you to shut up. You know, you want to live in a good house, chop good food, drive all over the world, fly a private jet, you shut your mouth up by yourself. So it's self-censorship. It's not as if artists are afraid they will go to jail, afraid. We are no longer in that world. Trust me. We are no longer in the world today where artists can just be willingly thrown in jail for speaking the truth. So I feel that Nigerian people, we put a lot of importance on these celebrities and actors and artists, and even by the definition that society gives them, role model. You know, their role is a role, like when you act, you know, is a role, it's not really real life, you know. So we must understand, we are the ones that will stand for ourselves. We must see our situations as our true inspiration. You can't say, oh, Seun Kuti is my inspiration. That makes no sense. Your reality must be your inspiration. All right. Always, you know. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen. Whoa. Freedom! Come on, freedom!